to have a moment's silence, please. A moment's silence, please. Very, very kindly, each area is going to do a quick presentation, by which I mean a 2-minute presentation, but it is a very, very good way of getting some of the energy going, showing our colleagues from BDUK the kinds of things we're interested in and that we'd like to do, showing Lorraine, for example, from County Council, who's a key community officer, also, she's there, what it is that we'd like to do, and proving why rural communities in Cumbria not only deserve to get broadband, but have the capacity, the energy, the ideas to take it up and make the best use of it possible. So here we are, and I'm going to start with Mungrisdale, representing the area of Coolbeck. Over to Michael.
Coolbeck, Wigton, Severn, that's it. Thank you very much. I think the first 4 bullet points, our answer around our table was very clearly yes. We would make sure we would find all the resources and the people to help drive this forward. Demand stimulation. We think that a questionnaire plus public meetings would be very important. Certainly in Mungrisdale, we've already sent out a questionnaire to try and establish and identify exactly what the needs are within our own parish. Moving on, help neighbours. Well, yes, that's an obvious thing. That would come in due course. Once we get the thing rolling, then we would have open meetings to explain everything as we go on. Mobile phones was a big subject. We have 0, in the majority of our parishes, 0 mobile phone reception. So we would clearly want spectrum enhanced. I think that's the correct way of saying it. If we could put a strong point for that, please. I've mentioned identify needs with the questionnaires. Schools, we have a mixed bag of schools. Well, we have Wigton, Coolbeck, Welton, Rossley. None of them have fibre optic cables in them at the moment. So that's another issue we need to look at. We have rather large mast, TV mast, just on the fells above Coolbeck, which has a fibre optic cable running to it. So our question is obviously, can this in some way be used to then fan out, use it as our pump? The other point which came up, it would encourage people to move into the area. I mean, we haven't got a lot of young people in our area. We all know that the young people are the people who are going to drive this in due course. But if we get the broadband in the villages around us, we would encourage families to come and move into the area. Lake District National Park, again, they would be involved as far as planning is concerned. We certainly, in Mungrisdale, we're almost entirely in the park, and we'd have to get them on side. Other than that, I think we don't want to run before we can walk. There are a lot of stuff towards the end of the note, which, yes, we would have to take into consideration. But that's about it.
Hello, I'm Judith. I'm, to be guilty, I'm representing only half our table, because the other half our table is Great Salkeld, correct? We we're too busy talking and we didn't really get anything written down on paper, so I got shoved up here. There's a group of us here from Dacre Parish, but admittedly most of us are from Stainton. We have got the advantages in Dacre that we've got some big businesses there. We've got Reg Ed, we've got Cumbria Rural Enterprise Agency, Bed Hills Business Park, the Egg Farm, Flusco and others. We think we could work with them to help pull better broadband into the area. We've also got the advantage, we've got some big landowners and farmers, some of whom are on the parish council, so therefore we think it'd be easier to get things sorted, to get things dug through. We've also got West Coast railway line going through our area, and it's a bit frustrating if we can't tap into the broadband when it's right on our doorstep. But it may be that we're going to have to look at the school, and we don't know what the school at Stainton has got, from the point of view whether it's copper or whether it's fibre. But if we could get their line upgraded, we could do a lot of work around Stainton. We could either use the village hall as a hub to take things out, but we already have an old TV analogue mast sitting up on the hillside above the egg farm, which has got electricity supply already going to it. I don't think we'd need much planning permission to get something put up there to actually get it round a lot of the village at Stainton. So we could look to do something earlier on to try and get Wi-Fi around the village and get that covered quite quickly, and then move forward to try and get better fibre optics around the rest of the village, or most of the village. But we also need to actually get groups set up in the other villages in the parish, Dacre, Newbiggin, Blencow and Solby, and get them involved. We're also thinking we need to do more research through the newsletter that goes out in the community to find out about what people are needing, what people are wanting. And we also could start doing some courses for older people, especially we think, in the village halls and other places, to get them up to speed on broadband. In some ways you don't want to get them knowing too much too early, because otherwise if they haven't got good broadband they're going to get frustrated. But at least getting the ones who've got broadband using it better. Also setting up systems to support them. My son goes across the road to help an elderly lady who has got broadband, but she gets very frustrated with it. And he's probably there once a week to help her sort her out and get it fixed. So we need to help people get trained up to go and assist other people. What we think you're doing is setting up a group in the pub. If you're talking to people in the pub, quite often you get really heated about broadband. So I think it's a good place to go and down pints at the same time. Ideas for improving things from local authority point of view. If we can get our village hall, which we're working on at the moment, into a better condition, and we've got good internet access in there, being able to have things like doctors' surgeries there and other facilities that can help the community so we don't have to travel to Penrith, you can stay local. Also looking at ideas like Cumbria Neighbourhood Watch Association, which I'm to do with, we're wanting to set up systems to get better messages around areas. Environment Agency are wanting to do this as well, to get messages about floods and other environmental issues. If we've got everybody on broadband and we've got groups of email addresses, we can send messages around quickly and get people's opinions quickly. So yeah, the other thing we're thinking of doing is trying to get a list of the services that people are using in the village, the ones that they're actually using in the village and the ones that they're having to travel for, to then see which services we can actually bring in other ways into the community via broadband.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you so much, everybody. We're going to push ahead, so I'm going to be quite bullyish about time to get through. So 2 minutes each, please. But thank you.
Right. My name's Dave Smith. I'm from Knock, Dufton on the Fell side. We have presently varied provision of broadband, and all of it at a fairly low speed. So the people that are here today from that area, we have identified a need between ourselves, but what's come through from the other speakers is that there has to be a process to find out what the need is from the community, the wider community, on a local basis. So I'm making the suggestion that perhaps the BD UK guys can think about possibly putting together some sort of model process that could be rolled out to the communities, giving some guidelines, some structure to how people might actually go about getting the groundswell of opinion, doing the surveys as to what's needed, etc., etc. Paul?
We are actually doing that. We're trying to put some things together now. What would be really helpful for us is the people who have done it, and I think you guys here are going to be leading it, is that when you start to create things, you think about how we can pick it up and distribute it to the rest of the country. But that's exactly what we want to be doing. We want to be creating one single point where all of this information can come together and people can start sharing ideas and understand the barriers and some of the ways of jumping over those barriers.
Yeah, I think that's very important, because of all the people that are here today, there's also a lot of people who aren't there, and perhaps not all communities are represented. So I think if that happens, then hopefully we can draw more people. Anyway, that's probably my 2 minutes.
I'm Ali Turnbull from Matterdale Parish. My table represents people around Elswater, Matterdale, Patterdale and Martindale, all in the Lake District National Park, reliant heavily on tourism and outdoor pursuits, and we've already got good support from Outward Bound and hotels and B&Bs and caravan parks in the area.
We too would like a kind of consistent approach to the survey so that we know what questions you want answered and what we're going to go and ask. We might also need some help with answering some of the tricky questions that people will ask us. But first of all, I think what we want to know before, we've got a willing bunch of people. Some of us have already illegally downloaded bits of the Ordnance Survey with sticking pins in it, but we'd like to know where we would like this data mapped and where we, if you'd like to have an online pin system. But most of all, we need to know where the fibre is for our area. Is there fibre going down the lake, down the A592? We've heard all sorts of rumours about where there is fibre, and we just don't know what's possible. Plus, we don't have a cosy little village with a church and a school. We have lots of straight lines, so we don't really know what's possible. So we do need to know what is possible for our area before we can go ahead and get excited about it. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll answer questions on how we're going to gather this information and follow up on those two things, maps and knowledge.
Thank you very much, Ronnie. My name is Ronnie Halls, and I represent Carlisle District. And my table here, there's a number of different parishes from the Carlisle area, and I'm also chairman of the Carlisle Parish Council Association. Now, basically, we summarise what we talked about, and we talked about a lot at our table, with one small simple diagram. It's a little cake here with a slice out of it, that everybody in the community wants a slice of the pie. Everybody wants to get a little bit of improvement out of what is being invested in our area. And it's very important that BDUK can look at the community as a whole and try and address even the most disparate or far away areas to give the sort of improvement that everybody wants. Now, a lot's been said already about how to educate and stimulate demand in individual parishes. Parish councils can take a lead in this, because parish councils have got a power that other community groups don't have, that they can precept for a little bit of money. As long as it is legally put to a legal use, then a parish council involvement can help considerably with whatever efforts are made in a community. A parish council can set up a leader group which can consist of all sorts of interested bodies in a locality. Now, this could be one parish council, or it could be several parish councils working together. In Carlisle District, the Carlisle Parish Council Association has been running a broadband survey for the last several months. And we know that out of 600 people in the rural areas who have responded to this, that over 50% are receiving a 1 megabyte or less broadband service. Many of them are not on broadband at all. Those that are getting a broadband service complain about intermittent service, breakdown in the signal, which is very, very frustrating. So we know there is a huge demand. It's up to local communities to stimulate that demand, to get round their people and persuade them that it's worth joining in and possibly spending a little bit of money to improve the broadband service for everybody. And a little bit of further information. Associations can do a lot here. The Carlisle Parish Council Association is running a conference in January to bring together parish councils. To try and help with the education. So it's part of the community activity that has to go on everywhere. And I just hope that as a result of all this, in 4 or 5 years' time, Rory, we can all say that we've really benefited from what's been invested.
Much